Since this is a crypto event, I won't go into too much detail about what yield farming is, but just to summarize for the people that don't know, a yield farm is like a savings account where you deposit some tokens and you get some yield in return. That being said, the problem is way more complex than that. So the learning curve for the average investor is really steep. You gotta learn what's a liquidity pool, what's a decentralized exchange, how does it work, what's a farm, how do you track profit, what's impermanent loss, and so on and so forth. And we are fixing all of this by turning all of those diverse investment opportunities into what we call X assets. And an X asset is a smart contract layer that behaves like a traditional ETF and allows us to build a full exchange interface on top, allowing the user to buy from any coin, sell to any coin, invest with a credit card, withdraw to a bank account. They can track their investments in US dollars on a true professional stock chart, and even create limit and stop orders like they do on a centralized exchange. So here's an example of what the current process looks like to invest in a sushi swap pool. When you invest, you gotta do 8 operations on chain, and those all cost gas fees, and just the user experience is really horrible. If you wanna do compounding and increase your APY, you gotta do 4 other operations per day. And when you withdraw, you gotta do 6 other operations. With us, you just come in, you buy the asset at one price. We do compounding for you automatically. The yield is included in the asset price. You just sell it at the new price. Any decentralized investment can be an X asset. So we're starting with LP pools and farms, stablecoin farms, of course, but even tokens or a mix of tokens or NFTs or index tokens and lots of other experiments all across the blockchain. Here's how the product looks like. You see a list of assets, and as I was saying, each one has a price. You see the price, you see the growth, and right next to it, there's a really important feature that we call real APY. And what that means is we calculate to you the actual returns that that asset has generated in the last month. We went back on the blockchain, we looked at prices, we looked at APYs, and for each asset we can tell you, okay, what if you invested $1 1 month, 3 months, or 6 months ago, what the returns would actually be, and not an APY in a random token that you don't know what actually means, right? On the detail page, you can see we have the true stock chart for each and every asset, and you have the options to invest from any stable coin or from any coin for that matter. You also have the option to invest with a credit card. And right next to it, we have our next really important feature that we call zero-fee investing. And how we're doing this, and this is especially important for Ethereum, it will get fixed in the next few months, but well, it's really important now and will be for the others as well. The gas fees to invest in some of these opportunities right now can be in the hundreds of dollars. So you end up, as an average investor, you end up spending hundreds, if not thousands of dollars sometimes, just in gas fees to invest $1. And how we're fixing this is by creating liquidity for some of these assets. And since each X asset just behaves like an ERC20 token, transferring it back and forth with the user is really cheap. And we even refund, and we calculate and we refund those gas fees in FarmX tokens and put them in the pool for the user automatically. On the next part of the detail page, we see another really important feature, and that is the safety score. And the safety score is a grade that we calculate by looking at different variables. And this is not that readable, but I'll just tell you a little bit about it. So we look at stuff like how high the impermanent loss can be, how high the capitalization of the underlying assets are, how complex the actual investment strategy is. And we also have an integration with DeFi yield, and we look at the contract audit database and take that into consideration for the grade. And we also give the users the option to insure their deposit via Insurace. So we started with EVM compatible chains. but we plan on bringing on the platform as many chains as possible so users can actually compare different investment opportunities and make the best investment decisions. The next iteration of the product is what we call X funds. Now, an X fund is just like a classic mutual fund, but it's the decentralized version. If you think of eToro's copy portfolio, we're doing that for the decentralized world, where each investor can come in, create his own funds, create his own mutual fund. He earns fees by managing the distribution of assets in that fund. And the platform offers the users the option to actually compare returns, see how active the manager is, see how the current distribution and what the returns for that fund were in the past. The market for yield farming peaked at 210 billion in April. It's a little bit lower from there with Anchor and Luna, which wiped out a bunch. But it still grew more than 50% year over year this year, even at the current values. And it's expected to grow 45% year over year for the next 10 years. Competitors, if you look at competitors, there's bits and pieces of this out there, but if you want to do real investing and actually know what you're doing and track what you're doing and so on and so forth, you still end up stringing everything together with custom Excel files and so on, which are not for everybody. I'm just the one presenting to you today, but of course this is a team effort. The team, we've been together for a really long time. We've built multiple projects together. We have experience in actually building from zero to launch to running in production. On this journey, we're also accompanied by a financial expert with more than 15 years working in the traditional finance world for different funds or brokerage companies. And of course, our investors and advisors. That's about us. That's about it for us. I'm opening up for a question. Thank you.
So have you already built the platform, or is this work in progress?
It is work in progress. We're about a month away from launch.
Okay. And so first of all, you should have built it on XRP ledger, just to,
Yes.
bill for finance, cheap transactions. You would make all the money and your fees, but anyway, no gas fees. Well, give or take. Anyway, it sounds really good. So how, and bringing that together is actually quite complex. How are you going to onboard people and get people to understand, to use it? Because you're trying to sell a really complex product in a simple way, but how are you going to get people to actually understand what they're doing?
Oh, we have a good plan to do education, starting with videos and everything, explaining the underlying concepts and how they all work, and what we actually simplify. And this is what we're working on now. Actually, we've already started. If you look at the community, we already started educating people on bits and pieces of the whole ecosystem.
Your project, it's all about, well, it's about security, right? I mean, Terra, Luna, right? It was about yield. So how are you going to handle the security part? Has your team built a smart contract before? Is it audited?
Yeah, of course. So we have experience. We've worked with different projects before this, and we actually built smart contracts. We have experienced developers on that, and we will audit. Right now, it's still in development. So once the development for the smart contract is done and we know that version is final, we will start auditing with a audit company. We have contacts for around 10 of them. So
okay, what blockchain is it going to be launched on initially? You said
the EVM ones. So we're doing Ethereum, Binance.
All of them at the same
Avalanche,
time?
Polygon, yeah.
Okay.
Just one question, yeah. Super clear, spot on. Your second product, which is called?
The X Fund?
Yeah.
Or,
no, the second one. It was X Fund, the second one? The boat.
Yes,
the boat.
Fund.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I have an idea why you created it, but can you explain why you had the need to create this specific product? What are you looking for? I have an idea, but I just want to check if my feeling is right or not.
The whole scope of the platform is to bring yield farming investments and make them easier for the average investor, right? And the most important thing for investing in any type of asset is to diversify your investments, right? So if you want to diversify and don't want to spend all day tracking what your investments are and looking into new projects and so on and so forth, you just go in and invest in a mutual fund. This is what you do in the classic financial world. This is what you should do on crypto as well.
So you're looking for scalability and volumes?
Yes, exactly.
Right. Very good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.